Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Motivation and Mindset Monday. I'm so happy to have you here with me on the show today and can't wait to get into this timely topic of how to stay positive in uncertain times. This could absolutely be any time in your life, whether you're dealing with relationship issues, you're dealing with career-based issues, you're dealing with financial issues, health issues, body issues, or of course, the larger world, which we are all dealing with right now in terms of this COVID-19 virus. So I wanted to bring this topic to you because I really believe there's a lot you can be doing right now. And if we're not decreasing our anxiety, if we're not decreasing our overwhelm, then we're going to lead to greater stress in the body. And if we have more stress in the body, it means we're producing more stress hormones. Our brain tells our adrenals to produce more norepinephrine and more cortisol. As we start to produce more of those hormones, we actually start to decrease our immune system response. Very specifically, the same immune cells that are in the mucous membranes that protect us if a virus was to enter our body through the eyes, nose, or mouth. So very, very important here, today's topic. What I want to do right now, though, is I want to share with you really succinctly those 7 points that I have for you. Now, they've been talked about in different ways for many, many years. But what I want you to do is to cultivate all 7. Sometimes you only need to cultivate a couple. There's no doubt about it. But what I would love you to do is actually have a checklist and to make sure that every single day, even if you're doing well, to check off these 7 things because there is no cost to them and it takes very little time. Now, in the time that you do spend doing them, or at least thinking about them, you will start to have a shift in neurotransmitters, a more relaxation-based response from our GABA and from our serotonin. And I'm going to share with you exactly how that happens. All right, so I'm going to dive right into it today. Again, always happy to read your comments on Instagram, so feel free to post those over just at my name. It's just instagram.com/Stephen Cabral. And of course, that will take you right over to the app and we can comment back and forth right there. The first one is this. Even in all of the uneasiness and all of the anxiety you might have and all of the overwhelm you have, we often forget that there's still a lot to be positive about. This often gets overlooked, and I want to mention just for a moment. Now, very difficult, extremely difficult, to start thinking about good things in life when you're stressed, because you don't want to. It's not what you want to focus on, and your body's doing that from much more of a survival-based standpoint. It's not going to shift gears. It says, listen, here's the stressor, here's what you should be worried about, figure it out. Figure it out. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes you can't figure it out, right? Sometimes you don't have all the answers. And you very likely will have all the answers in a few days, a few weeks, or a few months, but you don't have them today. So what are you going to do? Are you going to be stressed for months? Well, that's going to do such a number on your health and your relationships and everything else, your sleep, right? So what I want you to do is this, breathe, right? Your breath cuts off the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight. By breathing in through your nose for simply a shorter period than you breathe out, it will allow you to relax that sympathetic nervous system. So I don't try to shift my mind yet. I actually shift my physiology. Let me just repeat that. I don't try to shift my psychology the way that I'm thinking. I first shift my physiology. So when I'm getting stressed, I go back to my breath. Because oftentimes when you are stressed, you are holding your breath. You're holding a lot of tension either in your gut, which a lot of people then have digestive-based issues, or you're holding it in your chest and your neck, and now all your neck gets tight, right? Your neck gets tense, and you end up with knots in your upper trapezius, you end up with headaches, etc. So what I'd like you to do is simply think about this. Breathe in for about 5 seconds through your nose, and breathe out slowly for 7 seconds out through your mouth. That's it. And there are many ways to do this. You can do box breathing, you can do alternate nostril breathing, many different ways, okay? So what I recommend though is a calming breath. And the best way to do that is simply, it's the easiest. Breathe in for 3 to 5 seconds. Breathe out for 7 seconds or more. The only caveat to all of this is that the out breath has to be longer than the in breath in order for you to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and relax. If the in breath is longer than the out breath, you're actually stimulating more of a hyperventilation or a sympathetic nervous system fight or flight based response. So again, go back to the relaxation breathing. All I need you to do, that's literally it, is 5 of those breaths. That's it. In for 5 seconds, out for 7 seconds. It will take you, if you do the math, just about a minute, okay? So that's all we need. And then you can go and say, okay, I am stressed. The stress is there. It exists in my life, okay? What I want to do right now, though, is think about that in the grand scheme of things. Say to yourself, I will overcome this. I've overcome everything before this to get to where I am today. And although I don't have the answer, I didn't always have the answers before. And since I didn't have the answers before, and I was able to eventually find those answers and overcome that, why wouldn't I be able to find the answers in this situation and overcome this as well? And of course you will. But it's difficult because you don't have the answers, which means right now you're fumbling around in the darkness, like we all are at some point in our life. So the only way that I'm able not to get overly stressed is I feel the stress, I deal with it for a period of minutes or hours, I breathe, I sleep on it, and I say, okay, I've thought about it, I've gotten as much of a resolution as I can, and now I'm going to move on. And I'm going to control what I can control and let go of what I can't. It doesn't mean that I won't revisit it in the future, and when I do have a resolution, deal with it better or deal with it on a daily basis to the best of my ability, but I simply can't worry about what I can't control. It's not within my control. So I have to release that stress and release that uncertainty and assume that because I've been able to figure it out before, I too will be able to deal with and figure out whatever comes my way in the future. It doesn't mean you have all the answers, but it means that you're resourceful enough to be able to go out and find them. That's it. So remember though, there's a lot more to be positive about, it's my belief right now, than not. So let's focus on what we do have good in our life, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's our current good health, whether it's our strong immune system, whether it is our ability to work virtually, whether it's our children, whatever it might be, let's focus on some of that positivity. Now, the second one is crucial. We need to limit our news sources and the timing of those sources as well. Anybody that is immediately waking up and checking the news and the media, all they are going to report on is all the horrific stories of the day. They might mix in one positive story for every 10, right? At the most. I mean, that would be outrageous even if they did that. That would be such a huge step in the right direction. Remember, they've done many, many studies. News and media are not independent. They are all privately owned. They report on exactly what is going to get them the most viewers to tune in. That's it. Outrageous headlines, burning buildings, things that scare you. Why? Because the human psyche is trained to tune into danger so that we become hyper-vigilant, so that we are aware of what we need to be afraid of so that we can stay alive. News companies know this. They've tested before positive stories versus negative stories. They've tested positive headlines versus negative headlines. And negative headlines and things that scare you in negative stories are what get you to tune in. But if you start your day with fear and uncertainty, it will absolutely lead to overwhelm and anxiety and panic. Please do not start your day that way. If you need to tune into the news, and I know that we all have to be cognizant of what's going on right now, try to find as independent and straightforward of a news source with as little sensationalism as possible, and get your news for what it is, which is data, okay? You don't need the sensationalism behind it. And if you can, try to do it maybe at a time when you don't need to be digesting food, or a time where you can then relax afterwards. Don't do it in the morning and don't do it before bed. That's when most people consume their news, and it's the absolute worst time. One is you wake up with it, and that's how you start your day. No, start your day with positivity. Don't end your day with negativity either, because that's what's in your mind as your brain and body are going to bed. And so that's the issues that your body and brain are going to, or say your nervous system are going to try to work out then with your brain overnight. So please, positivity, I'll talk about this in just a second because it's my next point, but be careful to limit those news sources. They are not benefiting you, and you don't need to be checking minute by minute or hour by hour throughout the day. It's not helping. It really is not, okay? So let's focus now. Point number 3 is this. Increase your positive news sources. And you might say, well, where would I get positive news? Well, you can tune into accounts on social media that are talking about good things that are going on in the world. And remember, they are out there, that are sharing positivity, that are sharing success stories. You can be a part of online groups where people share their success. You can also read books. Books are a great way to get away from the second-by-second updates and instead read a book that is great for the soul, that speaks to you, that teaches you something, and that you can see other people that have used that particular book or those particular teachings to benefit you. Some people love A Course in Miracles. Other people love Abraham Hicks. Some people love reading about the law of attraction. Some people love reading about their Bible or whatever works for them. I mean, literally, read something that gives you more hope, that lifts you up rather than drags you down. Remember, negative news drags you down. Something positive lifts you up. Why? One, gives you no hope. The other, though, gives you hope that you can be, do, and really achieve more. And we'll talk about that one in a moment in your life. And so that's the nice thing, is there is hope. There's always hope. And there's hope for you right now. Let's focus on that, right? Let's not focus on the negative. Okay, number 4 is this, and it is a way to stop. Remember, I've done a show before on my 3 anchors for the day. I do hope you tune into that. But at 3 times during the day, I stop. The first one is when I first wake up in the morning. I wake up before the rest of the world, most of the rest of the world, definitely before my family. And it allows me quiet, and it allows me time to focus on how I want to start the day. Because I look at it as I have a 16-hour day. So most of us have 16-hour days if we're in bed for 8 hours. But how you use that day could be very constructive or destructive. And I want mine to be as constructive as possible. I want to be building up others. I want to be building up my family. I want to be building up myself. So I have to have a very strong, robust mindset and also energy level. And again, negativity will drag you down, drag your energy down. Positivity and hope will lift you up. So what I do is I give myself good sources of positivity first thing in the morning. It could be a podcast. It could be a book. It could be a video. It's anything that speaks to me and gives me a boost, right? So, and I've spoken about those before. Now, I do that in the morning before I start my day. I do it at lunch when I take a break. I call it my first day and second day. I try to live 2 days in one day. And it simply means that I work from, let's say, 7-something in the morning till about noon. And then I take a good lunch break, quiet time, rejuvenate the body. And then I do my second half of the day, which is work, and it's also exercise. And then, of course, I end that work day and I go home and it's family time. So what I do is I have 3 main anchors. I have upon waking, so waking in the morning, not right away, but it's pretty close. I basically use that as the first part of my day. Then I have a second anchor at lunch. So if the day got away from me, and it does for many of us, and again, I've mentioned this before. I say it before, it's not the best analogy, but I'm not bulletproof. Like, I'm not immune to not having the same stresses and challenges as everyone else. So when I have a bad first start to the day, something happened that I need to take care of, what happens is this. I have to then reset so that it doesn't ruin the whole day. So what I do is at lunch, I try to practice that breathing. I try to go for a walk, and I try to reset that central nervous system and my mindset. I change my physiology so that I can then work on my mind after that. It's too hard to change my mind, but I can change my physiology. I can work on my breathing. So then after that, my last anchor of the day is before bed. I make sure that I fill my head with something positive. And again, you can go back, check out that show I did on the 3 anchors that I have. And if you can't find the podcast at stephencabral.com/podcast, all you have to do is ask my team. Just ask a comment or leave a comment at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's our free Facebook group. So what I would say is this, though, and I've talked to my wife about this, and I say to tell my wife, I said, listen, we can talk about anything that you want. And I'm happy to do that. I really am. Kids go to bed. Let's talk. What I don't want to do is talk about issues that are going on that we need to resolve when we get into bed. Like, that's not the time. That is not the time to do that. So every once in a while, though, she'll forget about that little plan that I have. And I'll say, if this is important to you, we can talk about it right now. But ideally, if it's not something that we need to resolve right now, probably not the best time to be chatting about it. So it's not what we're thinking about right before bed. Now, for her, she can fall asleep in the drop of a hat. For me, I was a complete insomniac until my late 20s. So I have a bedtime routine for this very sensitive body and mind of mine that I like to stay in tune with. And I like to stick to those 3 anchors. So she basically just knows that I'm a little strange. And she said, okay, I get it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Or if it is something very important that we forgot to chat about, then we'll talk about it. There are those times, right? And so then I just go back to my breathing, calm my body down, and we're good to go. Or take a little liquid melatonin and then back to bed. There's always going to be those aberrations. All right. So those are those 3 times to give thanks and gratitude. And that will really help to reset the positivity, again, in uncertain times. Number 5 is this. And I try to do this on a daily basis. It's why I like to record a podcast a day. I do 7 podcasts a week, and I record 5 days a week. The weekend time is family time, so I don't work on the weekend. Now, do I answer questions for my team? Yes, of course. Anything pops up with a lab or anything like that, I'm on call. That's my job, and I'm okay with that because it takes very little time, and it puts my mind at ease. Okay, the team's okay, good, we're okay. And again, we're helping people all over the world, and so I'm not upset by that. But Monday through Friday, that's when I record my podcasts. That's when I do my videos. That's when I write articles. That's when I write my social media posts. And I do all that. People ask, do you write your own social media posts? Yes, I write all of them. So I have an amazing team. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be talking about that more on Monday's show next week. But for sure, obviously I record these podcasts. This isn't a voiceover for anyone else that I know of. So the thing is that I like to teach daily. I really do. So Monday through Friday, I love, even if it's a lot of speaking, whether I'm working with private wellness clients or teaching my health coaches on our health coaching calls or talking with my team or recording podcast videos, etc. I love it. I really do. And that's because if you teach and you know that it's helping at least one other person get through a hard time, that is enormous benefit to that one person. Remember, I did not get well for a decade. I met with a lot of brilliant people, and they helped me to get on my path to get well. And then I met one person who was not a famous doctor, but luckily, I was able to find her. She held the answers. She spoke to me in a way that was very different than other doctors, although she was a doctor, because she had a background in Ayurvedic medicine. She had a background in genetics, before genetics was being talked about, before MTHFR, methylation, you know what MTHFR is by now by listening to my podcast. She was talking about that before. So that's the thing. If you have 10 followers on Facebook, on Instagram, we'll put it that way, and one of those people benefits from what you teach, or a child benefits from it, or someone that you can teach health or gratitude or affirmations or anything to, and that person benefits, you made an enormous difference in their life. I started off 18 years old teaching nutrition. Didn't know it all, that's for sure. Didn't even know a little bit, right? But I knew enough to help some people. And I was also a personal trainer. Was I as good a personal trainer back then as when I had 10 years experience? Probably not, right? But I was still helping people. And that's what we have to understand, is if you have something that could help other people, teach that. It is unbelievable. I've never done a podcast. I've never shot a video. I've never done a wellness client call. I've never taught my team where I don't come out feeling great, feeling energized. And that's why, because I'm doing something positive. I am teaching. And I can't recommend that enough for you as well. Number 6 is this. Repeat affirmations when you are not feeling your best, when you are anxious, when you are overwhelmed. First, breathe. Control your physiology. Then, work on your psychology. I'm going to give you 4 of my favorite, okay? The first one you already know. I gave it to you in the Rain Barrel Effect book. I've talked about it many, many times. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. What are you getting better at? It does not matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're dealing with at that moment. Initially, Amélie Cuyer used this for health. You can use it for anything. He used it for health and psychology, actually. You can use it for absolutely anything. Finances, career, relationships, body transformation. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. It tells your mind and your nervous system, oh yeah, I am. It says, I'm not perfect today, but every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I love it. It's my favorite. It really is. I hope that you enjoy it and you use it. The second one is this. I am already enough. I don't say that one enough to myself, like most of us. I am already enough. There is no more that I need to do. I can do more if I'd like to, but I'm already enough. We need to say that more to ourselves. The third one is this. I can be, do, and achieve anything I'd like to have in life. I can be, do, and achieve anything I'd like in life or I'd like to have in life. However you want to phrase it, it's yours, right? And it just means that you're open to possibilities. Whatever you decide, you can commit, you can take action, you can make it happen. And the fourth one is this. I'll do a whole podcast on affirmations in the future. There's so many that I love, and different ones speak to different people. Probably a few of these that aren't resonating with you, but there are some that will. Trust me. And you can make up your own if you'd like. And I'll teach you the differences with affirmations, like this next one. It's already done. If you can, when you get good at it and you start to believe, phrase it in the past tense. It's already done. Or in the present, it's already here, right? It's already been done. It's already been done. Meaning, once you put it out there, it's already been done. Now, live your life and you will begin to receive, right? So it's already been done. You see it, you believe it, and now it's already been done. Begin to live it. All right, so I'll go over more of affirmations in the future. I love them. Again, I'm someone that's grounded in science, but these affirmations, they absolutely help to calm that central nervous system. And I'm a big believer in also what they can do on an energetic level far beyond the physical. So I believe in both. I believe in all forms of medicine. I believe in all forms of science. This is getting more into quantum science, and we've talked about that a little bit before as well. Number 7, the last one is this, and this is unbelievably important. This whole podcast has essentially been about changing your physiology, right? Well, eat well and move your body. Eat well means this, 7 to 9 cups of fruits and vegetables every day. It's almost difficult to eat poorly if you do that. It really is. Eat 7 to 9 cups of fruits and vegetables every meal. If you eat 2 to 3 cups of veggies at every meal, you can do fruit with your smoothie in the morning. It is difficult to eat bad. Even if you're having pasta with it or you're having pizza with it or whatever, if you're eating 3 cups of vegetables along with that, you're still doing pretty well. So remember, eat well. Focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. Go back to all my previous podcasts on what nutrition to eat. You can look up a good day's nutrition from our detox on days 3 through 7. I've done so many shows on it. You can look up the podcast on the foundation of all diets, an unbiased look, what should be the foundation of all diets, no matter what diet you're following. So check that out and then move your body. Whether you want to do spin class, whether you want to go outside and paddleboard, whether you want to do body weight exercises, whether you want to do HIIT training, move your body. Move your body, boost endorphins, get that energy surge from it, just don't overdo it. Move your body, eat well. That's going to help you to balance inflammation in the brain as well. It's almost never talked about. I will do a show on this as well. Inflammation in the brain leads to brain fog. Inflammation leads to an imbalance of neurotransmitters. Trust me on this. Eat well, move your body, especially when you're anxious, when you're overwhelmed, and when you are living in uncertain times. Thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. I appreciate you. I truly do. And if this show is helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone you believe it could serve. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.